the man himself, Nakasuchi, Ronnie,
Matt Powell,
the man.
Incredible. That guy is a total mental illness patient. You made him look like a moron in that film.
The thing about the movie is you could have been honest. Like you didn't have to. I mean, you have to know that those edits were disingenuous.
I'm not saying I don't personally think that anything was misedited at all. But that's just me.
I proved it. I mean, I put your edit right next to the actual unedited cut.
And he lashed out in response because he realized how stupid he looked.
I'll be honest, when I was debating him, he was so horrible and his worldview was so stupid that I was giving him grace. I took it very easy on him.
I've never referred to him as the raging atheist. I originally noticed him from the one video you did after you had spanked him in the debate, and I've always since then referred to him as the crying atheist.
All right, that's the right scene. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to The Rage. You heathens and demons, you sinners and saints. We're going to have a good show. I decided to stream this morning. I might still do the open room tonight. Probably will still do the open room tonight. So come on tonight if I do so and have a conversation with your boy. I'm sure John will be here. But there's a few things that we wanted to talk about, and me and Lisa for Truth has kind of been talking about part of it in the side chat, and I'm sure John will probably have a different perspective than I do on what me and Lisa were talking about. But first, before we get into that, we've got like half the show is going to be politics, maybe even more than the first half of the show will be political. We'll be talking about Trump. We'll be talking about some of these crazy Congress people. We'll be talking about AOC's epic response to Ted Cruz. But then we're going to transition into cupcake mode, and we're going to be looking at some Matt Powell as well. So a little bit of politics, a little bit of crazy religion. What better name could I give this show than Sunday Reprobates, Sunday Blasphemies? We are going to do church the atheist style. What's up, John Peterson?
Hey, Knock. You got to take that off the screen for me.
Yes, I will do so as I put my coffee down. All right.
Yeah, so this should be fun. And I don't want to give anything away, but at the end of the show, we're going to be joined by a very special guest that everybody knows for a few minutes, and that should be fun. Please stick around for that. There's a lot to talk about. Like Knox says, he doesn't normally like to do politics, but there's some crazy shit going on that we got to talk about because it's, fundamentalist Christian crazy kind of politics shit. So.
Yeah, it all blends together. And, as much as I try to stay away from politics, it's nearly impossible to do. It's something that I do care about vividly. It's something that I care about deeply. I try to keep it separated because, if my stance was always, all right, I don't want to turn off right-wing atheists. Atheists are atheists, and as long as you're not cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs right-wing, we could probably find some common ground and get along and try to promote the normalization of atheism. I got away from that for a while, and for the last 6 months or so, I've really been trying to get back to that. So I don't like to alienate my right-wing audience too much. Now, I'm a lefty, and I don't ever shy away from that, but I try to be fair. I figure like the common ground, middle ground for that is to be as fair as I can. Right now, that's not going to matter for a lot of right wingers, but it'll still matter to reasonable people. So I figure, as long as I keep most of it on religion, we can talk politics, but I have to be fair and I can't be partisan. I can't just agree with the left because I'm a lefty. I've got to be fair. That's how I kind of look at it. So, but before we get into the politics aspect, I do want to clarify something from yesterday. Jefferson Spatchcock, me and him had a great conversation on Discord after last night's stream. He didn't catch my when I opened the stream and how and why I made the clarification that I did. So I think I need to clarify it better, because even when I made my clarification to begin with yesterday, I misspoke. I used something that the scientist that was on Bill Maher had said instead of, some of the other things that I was looking at, and what my position really is. My position is, one, I don't know if the coronavirus is man-made. My goal yesterday was just to say, hey, when the coronavirus first came out and there was a lot of conspiracy theories around, Steve Bannon and Donald Trump were floating that coronavirus was man-made as a biological weapon against us. That was a conspiracy theory with no evidence behind it. Over the last year, we've done a lot of science, and some scientists are saying that this could be a man-made virus. Now, that doesn't mean that it was a biological weapon used on us like they were trying to perpetuate, but it could have been man-made and it escaped from a lab. These things happen. China covered it up because China's China, whatever. So my clarification was, I was just trying to say that the way I look at conspiracy theories is they're unfounded theories. They use conclusions to lead you to a conclusion you shouldn't be led to based on no evidence at all. So in talking about this as a conspiracy theory, I had to clarify, hey, I was wrong about that, because it's not a conspiracy theory. There are real, legitimate scientists saying that it's at least possible that this was man-made. It's like 50-50. So that was where my clarification should have been at. I made a mistake, John, at the end of the stream last night when Chris Keith came in. It was the end of the stream. I was tired. I was ready to be done. And, I didn't clarify my position. I just agreed with Chris Keith. And Chris Keith's position is totally different. Chris Keith has that Trump position, which I should have kind of fought against. No, that's not what I'm saying, Chris Keith. So I wanted to clarify.
Kind of purposely did it just to the world. So just to further clarify, because you had mentioned a few stats yesterday now, and I'm not trying to call you out here. I'm just want, for everybody else's clarification. You said 50-50 a moment ago. Yesterday you were talking as if the idea it was created was like an 80 to 90%.
Yeah, well, and that's where just what those scientists were saying on Bill Maher was saying. Now, the thing with Bill Maher is Bill Maher's flawed. He's biased. He gets attacked, and then he attacks back. So, I don't just trust, I hear a couple scientists come on Bill Maher. That's when I looked into it. I saw scientists say that it was definitely not man-made, and I see scientists saying that it could be man-made. When I said the 80 to 90% thing, that was just what they had said. Those two scientists said it came slipping out. So, yeah, I wanted to definitely clarify that. For me, it's not even really important on how this thing was made, unless it was like a deliberate attack by China on the world, right? Outside of that, it doesn't matter how it was made. What matters is how, what we do, we've got to combat it anyway. So, yeah, I wanted to come out and clarify that. Like, my position is, it's just not a conspiracy theory. It doesn't essentially matter. But when I'm wrong about something, I try to correct myself, and I come out and I admit, hey, I was wrong. I said that this was a conspiracy theory, and based on my definition of that, it's not. There's some actual science behind what they're saying. Of course, Donald Trump and Steve Bannon manipulated that.
Let's start our own conspiracy theory. It was man-made, and the people that made it are right-wing oligarchy who thinks we need to get rid of half the world.
Yeah, something like that. Now, if it was man-made, I tend to believe it was probably something that accidentally leaked out. No matter how many safeguards you take, this shit is bound to happen, and that comes down to the age-old argument since we've been doing these things is, should we be doing these things? Should we be manipulating viruses? I mean, of course we should. If we didn't, we wouldn't have vaccines, right? So, I mean, but it goes hand in hand with the argument that they're having, and I think it's really important if you're going to combat the misinformation of the right, that you do so as accurately as possible. And if you're wrong, then you've got to be able to come out and say that, because they never will, right? So you've got to at least give the accurate narrative.
You might want to check out one of our resident scientist fans in the chat right now. Mama Atheist is offering a clarification, but that's a supposition. It being zoonotic, if I'm saying that right, as in clearly spread by an animal species, which proves manufactured.
Other scientists are saying differently. Yes, I'm not a scientist. My goal here is to combat misinformation, and the only way I can do so is to be accurate. And if there is scientists out there saying a thing, I'm not going to just ignore those scientists because it doesn't fit my narrative. Not
suggesting you do. I just, I thought that was interesting.
I definitely like, because Jefferson Spashcock linked me an article that I had actually read earlier in the day. That's very good. That points out a very good argument for how this is possibly not a man-made virus, and like really good argument. It's put out on the Associated Press. Can't remember who the scientists were behind it. And then I've read like the first article I linked. It did come way from March, and I think it was like the original article that Trump and Bannon had been, manipulating and convulsing around. But there are other scientists that have come out since then. One as recently as 2020. They take shit, but they have legitimate science. And my thing is, if there's legitimate science behind it, it's not a conspiracy theory. But again, it doesn't fucking matter. What matters is combating this thing, getting over it. And the scary thing about the one thing that I learned yesterday, the scary thing about this is if it is man-made, if it does come from bats and it has somehow mutated, because usually these coronaviruses from bats, humans don't have to worry about them. If it somehow has mutated to now it can get to humans naturally, then we're in for some trouble moving forward. And that's a very scary prospect, but that's something that we need to be aware of as a community, as a human species, is this might not be over. It could get a lot worse.
Well, because it can mutate. But, and of course, everybody knows the reasonable thing to do when something like this happens is to, start screaming conspiracy theories that the country was responsible for it, and then drop out of the World Health Organization. That's always the smartest thing to do.
Well, yeah,
Trump.
and unfortunately, people don't do research. So, they're not going to do I probably put 7 or 8 hours into it, which is nothing compared to actual scientists. Mama Atheist knows way more about this than I would. I'd love to talk to Doc Savage about this. I believe because I think he's the one that's been really talking about and wanted to talk to me about the vaccine. So, I'm not a scientist. My thing here was just to correct myself because I dismissed it completely when I shouldn't have. And I think when we do those things, we feed into the right's narrative. So the best thing we can do is come out and say, hey, no, yeah, there's science behind it. It's not some, it wasn't some China attack on Donald Trump, as Donald Trump said, but it's possible it was man-made. Shit, it's possible it came from us. So for, my clarification is only to clarify that I was wrong for calling it a conspiracy theory when there was some science behind it. That's my clarification, not to take a side.
Did you see the crazy, I think it was on Twitter, some dude had posted a picture and he had this little, it wasn't even needle shaped. It looked like something, it was thin and maybe a 1/4 inch long, and it was some kind of metal thing. And he had it in his hand. And then he took a picture of it, and then he posted, just got back from getting my COVID vaccine, and my arm hurt, and I reached up and pulled this out of my arm. Like he was saying that he had gone and got his vaccine, and they had chipped him, The funny thing is, though, is the thing he had in his hand was really small, but it was still way too big to have been inserted with a fucking needle, man.
Athena, it's on my Discord server. If you're not on my Discord server, I don't have all that shit prepared now. No. It would take me too long online here to go through and grab all those articles. Interesting reads, though. Interesting reads, and again, like I said, it matters not outside of the fact that if this was some mutation from an animal, or that, then we have other things to look forward to, and this test on this new technology is going to be important. This new vaccine, because it's a new way of it's a new technology of vaccine that really hasn't been tested before. And we've already run into one of those issues. A congressperson that has been tested with both shots has caught COVID. So now we have right-wing people saying, oh, it doesn't work. When, no, it was like a 90% efficacy. There's a certain percentage are still going to get COVID after they've been vaccinated, so it's something that happens that they said was going to happen, but now here is going to be this more conspiratorial fear. Hey, no, don't go get it. It's not going to work, and it's probably going to give you, Alzheimer's disease.
I mean, I'm an atheist, or Lisa would probably know better, but I believe that like all vaccines, there is a certain small percentage that it doesn't affect. Just like there's, with all drugs, there's a certain small percentage, infinitesimal percentage that might die from it or have problems with it, So, that's what's going to happen with that. Like one person has a problem, and the next thing there's nut jobs out there saying, see, it doesn't work. It's a government conspiracy,
Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to have to contend with that. And that's what I'm saying. We got to be as accurate and as fair as possible when we do so. All right, John. So, Trump's entire defense team for his impeachment trial quit last night or the day before. And it's fucking hilarious. And we're going to check this out because this is a great story. Because, they wanted to argue about the constitutionality. His defense team wanted to argue about the constitutionality of convicting a president that's no longer sitting, which is a decent argument constitutionally. Like that we're in unprecedented waters. There's no precedence for what's happening right now. They want to
actually there is.
There is, but not for a president. Not for a president, which is important.
And right. And the other important point to make is he was actually impeached before he left office.
And that's exactly true. So I don't agree with their position, but I'm just saying it's like really your only true legal defense here, right? Yeah. So Trump is like, no, I want you guys to go out there and say that the election was stolen from me. We have to check it out. So it's CNN, y'all. So, fake news, liberal media. Let's get it over here. I'll share it for John. Let's check this out.
CNN broke the news last night that Donald Trump's entire impeachment defense team have stepped down, citing a difference in strategy. Butch Bowers and Deborah Barbier, they are the lead impeachment lawyers. They have stepped down, as well as 3 other impeachment lawyers that Bowers brought on. Now, Bowers was clear with Trump, a source tells us. He wanted to argue about the legality of trying to convict a former president. But Trump had a different idea for what his defense needed to be. He wanted them to argue that there was massive election fraud and that the election was stolen from him. Now,
like the reporter, she can't even get through that without chuckling. like the insanity. This man is losing his mind, John.
Well, and it's insane on a few different levels too, because it's insane because first of all, the election wasn't stolen. Okay, that's been proven without a doubt. Every recount that he had done, turned out virtually the same. And the other reason it's insane is inciting a riot, inciting insurrection, to say, well, the election was stolen from me is not a defense for that. Okay. You're going to be impeached because of the crazy shit you did over 2 months, inciting people to violence, inciting people to believe false things. And you're going to say, well, that's okay because the election was stolen from me, so I had every right to whisper in people's ears and dog whistle to people and get them to, rush the Capitol and to possibly murder my vice president and other members of Congress.
Yeah, and that's like, you know, that's the conversation that me and Lisa were having in the conversation. Really, like, what is treason? So has Marjorie Taylor Greene committed treason? I'm not sure. I don't know. There has to be an investigation. Like certainly, if she was leading tours of these insurgents, the leaders of the insurgency, right, through the Capitol, so they can get a layout of the Capitol. Yeah, she's probably there's gonna be an investigation, and she's probably gonna be found guilty of, at least, if not treason, at least sedition, right? But probably treason.
And if not convicted of any crime, she has certainly done things that would warrant her being impeached and removed from Congress.
Well, warranted, yes. Would that actually happen? No.
Probably not.
Because as I, you know, and that was the argument, was 2/3 is hard to get when 3/4, or let's say like 89% of the Republican Party believes what she believes. They just don't say it loudly, you know. Like, so yeah, you're not going to get 2/3 because you're not going to get most of those Republicans to unseat this woman. Unfortunately, the way we have to go about it is to censor her for the things she says, and then make sure that people that elected her get enough information not to reelect her. That's pretty much our only option to get these people out of Congress. I mean, in all reality, that's your only option. And especially when we now see for certain that Trump is going to perpetuate this. Like, this has, you know, the insurgency, that didn't slow his roll, not one bit. The impeachment afterwards, that hasn't slowed his roll, not one bit. He's still going to be promoting this shit, giving credence to these right-wing crazy fucks, to people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. So what we have to do is what the left is doing, which is pressuring, making people aware of the atrocious things that she said, making people aware of what these people in Georgia voted for, because that's the issue. The issue isn't Marjorie Taylor Greene. The issue is those people that voted for her. So
yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, and she's not the only crazy in Congress now that has been, you know, put into power. I mean, and Trump, I think it's probably not going to happen with the way the Republicans are acting. You know, that they're going to get 17 Republicans to vote to convict him. And, you know, Trump is not going anywhere. I mean, just this
I think if he goes with that defense, we might.
But the thing is like, just in the last week, and I know you saw the stories, you know, Mike McCarthy's down there in Florida kissing the ring, you know, like
they're bending the knee. Yeah.
Yeah. And now I kind of relish that. And I, you know, told you why before, because I think if it'll schism the Republican Party and throw more wins to Democrats, but it's still problematic, because if he's able to be a strong voice, even if it's only for part of the Republican Party, that, as you said earlier, is going to make problems for all of us for a long time to come.
Yeah. At this point, to me, the damage is done now. So like he's gonna ride or die this thing, you know, and it's gonna continue. So we're in for the long haul. The misinformation is gonna be continuous. But we do still have some good people. We're gonna watch a little bit more. We're not gonna watch this whole thing. It's mainly, you know, what happened. But these lawyers did the right thing. They did the right thing, which is what Giuliani should have done.
Let me put that back up. I wanted a question for you and for the audience, if they want to, you know, answer in the chat. I believe this, and I'm just wondering if you think this too. I think a big part of why Trump is, as you say, he's going to ride or die on this, is because it enables him to continue making a lot of money.
Oh yeah,
from followers.
It's a grift, yeah, definitely. Like Trump has never believed the things that he espouses. Like, the dude was, a lifelong Democrat. You know, considered himself one of those, you know, elitist liberals forever, and then he started to get crazy, and the Democrats started to distance themselves from him. But for the longest time, like, right up, like, people forget, like, when he was running to be president, he would not come out as, pro-life. He would not do that. It was like like that dude's probably had like 55 abortions. But as he became president and as he saw what his base was, then you saw that evangelical Christian, quote unquote, come out, and he became pro-life, and we got to protect, he feeds them what they already want. Like, this misinformation, I've always said this is not new to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is just the first person that comes out and says it openly and gives no fucks, because he was born with that diamond spoon in his mouth. He doesn't have to give any fucks. He's never been shown that he has to give any fucks, which is why it's so important that we hold him accountable now. We're probably not going to, though. Like, as I put in the system, in the side chat, our system is flawed. And the only way constitutionally out of that is to vote in enough people to change the actual system. We got to vote in more AOCs, not be trying to get rid of her from our party, as the moderates are actively trying to do. They fear AOC. They fear the future.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, we'll be talking about her here shortly.
That wonderful person, yeah. AOC. I love her.
Yeah, she's like that in real life. I'm sure power's changed her a little bit. I don't pretend like to have some deep relationship with her, but I did get to meet her before she was a congresswoman at Standing Rock, and she's passionate about this shit, man. So I'm gonna put this back up there.
Trump has been clear he wanted that to happen. Trump's former campaign manager, Jason Miller, told CNN that the team is trying to figure out what is going to happen leading into next week, and we have 2 days until some legal briefs have to be filed 1 week before the Senate impeachment trial is set to begin. Trump has no strategy, Trump has no team, and he has a little more than a week to figure that out before his impeachment trial begins. Guys?
All right, Daniela Diaz.
Bring in Rudy.
Motherfucker. God damn you. That was going to come out of my mouth. Yep. Calling Rudy. Let's fast forward to the black dripping down Rudy's face on the floor of the Senate.
Yeah, like, and it's coming because, Rudy's getting sued by Dominion, so he might not even be able to. I don't know the legalities there, right? But if anybody's going to go down with this ship, it's going to be Rudy Giuliani at this point.
His former press secretary, is she a lawyer? What, McElhaney? I wonder if she's a lawyer.
I don't know. She was always an atrocious Fox News host before she became press secretary, so I don't know if she has a law degree. A lot of them do. Yeah. But and she used to be on CNN way back in the day, and I remember I hated her way back then, and that was her at her most moderate because she was on CNN. Yeah. All right, so our next thing that we're going to be talking about is some of these crazy Congress people. The Marjorie Taylor Greene, she recently came out and she thinks that the Jews have space lasers. Have you seen that, John?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it, though.
The Jews have space lasers, and they're starting the fires out west. It's all a Jewish conspiracy because the Jews are evil. This woman is a white supremacist. Now, that in and of itself can't get you unseated from your seat because the people of fucking Georgia elected a white supremacist into Congress.
Yeah, wow. Did we all go back in time like 60, 70 years?
Those aren't even dog. So she is just like, nope, I'm not going to dog whistle to my Nazi I don't want to call it. I was about to say comrades, and what a misnomer that would have been, right? I'm not going to dog whistle to my Nazis. I'm just going to come out and be like, you see the swastika right here? All right, my camera's off, so you don't see me actually pointing at my forehead. Like, see the swastika right here? That's it. And the Bober chick is no different. She's the fucking same.
Yeah, Jewish lasers. Like, do we just call them Jewsers?
Like fucking space lasers. Like we live in Austin Powers now.
What sound does a Jewish space laser make?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'll have to ask my buddy Manny from over on Speeds Chats what he thinks of the Jewish space lasers.
You know, and that it's funny and it's sad and it's definitely white supremacy. You know, I mean, you don't get more anti-Semitic than that, right? But at the same time, it's truly frightening for a lot of Congress people. So a lot of Congress people have legitimate reasons for wanting a few of these people unseated, you know, and AOC's one of them. She has legitimate reasons. So before we get into Ted Cruz thing, like when you talk about like Marjorie Taylor Greene has actively called for the assassination of AOC, you know, in her past.
And like you've alluded to a few times now, it's really scary too, because it's when she says crazy shit like that, and then it's not just her because she got voted into office. So it's millions and millions of other people that think like her.
Yeah, and that's the scariest thing. Was what you just said. Yeah, it's. I mean, how many thousands of people in Georgia didn't give two fucks about that? You know.
Yeah, right. And not only just the people that voted her in, but then she, you know, has people that are sympathetic to her all over the country. You know, so, you know, on top of the people that voted for her, there are nut jobs in every state that listen to what she says. And so
she's a hero now, just like Kyle Rittenhouse is a hero for murdering left-wing activists, right? Like they are not hiding it. And that's what I said. I said that quite, you know, plain as day. Like, we live in very dangerous times right now because they are not hiding their radicalization. They're not hiding their extremism. They're not hiding their atrocious beliefs. They came very, very close. They came very, very close to getting their hands on prominent left-wing leaders and Mike Pence. Like, again, like we're sitting here having to remind people that they were after Mike Pence too. You don't get crazier or more extreme than Mike Pence when it comes to right-wing politics. And they were going to kill him too. And we're just a few weeks outside of that, and we're not going to hold them responsible. You know, as I was saying in the chat, we don't have 2/3 votes to remove some of these people. Like, even if even if the information comes out that Boebert chick and Taylor Greene were giving those Capitol tours the day before to the leaders of the insurgency, probably nothing. We're not going to be able to unseat them because the Republicans aren't going to vote right. You know, they're not going to do the right thing because most of them believe this shit. And if they don't believe it, they're willing to pretend like they do to keep their power.
Right. Because they look and see, okay, you know what? Man, what that person did was fucked up. But if I call them out for it, I'm going to be tainting my own party and thereby maybe tainting myself. So I just got to go with it and, you know, hope it doesn't stain me.
Yeah, it's sad. It's really sad. But we do get some heroes that step out of all of this, and AOC is one of them. And John, I knew, you know, I follow AOC pretty closely. That's one Twitter account that I follow what she says. So I knew about this for a while, and John wanted to talk about this. I'm like, oh yeah, we can talk about that because I took my little hiatus and I haven't talked about this yet. So let me get us over here.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw I sent you a bunch of screenshots, and I don't know. I've sent them at the last minute. So
yeah, I got them. Yeah, we're gonna close this show with religion, y'all. Just a reminder to the audience, and we got some cupcakes and some Otangelo Grasso.
You gave away the special guest.
No, I didn't. Did I?
Yeah, no, it's okay. I mean, you might not have ever seen me, but Otangelo is actually going to be here.
Yeah. I haven't seen your Otangelo impersonation.
I'm trying to find it on mine. What do you call screenshots here? The AOC tweet, which was just fucking beautiful, man.
Yeah, they'll talk about it. I'm going to add this to the screen, and we'll watch. Just a moment of this.
Yeah, it is pretty remarkable to see. The tension is palpable on both sides, particularly from the Democrats geared towards the Republicans in the aftermath of the violence that we saw on Capitol Hill. We've seen some Democrats suggest that some Republican members have gave inside information to these insurrectionists who came and stormed the Capitol. We don't know who has done that, or if there's evidence of that, but we do know there's an investigation looking into that. We've also seen metal detectors being placed at all the entrances to the House chambers. An extraordinary move.
Yeah. We know all this. Pausing it for fair use. Blah, blah, blah. Get to it.
And partly why Nancy Pelosi today said that the enemy is within the House of Representatives, noting how some members have tried to bring firearms onto the House floor. And then in this pretty remarkable tweet just earlier today, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the New York Democratic progressive firebrand, fired back at Ted Cruz, the Texas Republican, saying, "I'm happy to work with Republicans on this issue where there's common ground, but you almost had me murdered 3 weeks ago, so you can sit this one out." She went on to say,
all right, go ahead, John.
Well, no, you could have left that back up. I'll deal with my echo. It's only on my end, but I just want to mention, it's funny that this is the video that Doc chose to show, because this is exactly where I got my.
It does make you a bit choppy, John.
Oh, all right, we'll take it off then.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
But at any rate, that video is exactly where I got my screenshot of the tweet from, that I was looking for when Doc put that up. But yeah, but you can go ahead and continue. I just wanted to.
Well, that's all that's just all I want to watch from that little video as we just talk about it.
And then could you just real quick, since you still have it up on your side, read that tweet of hers, will you?
Yeah, it says, I'm happy to work with the Republicans on this issue where there's common ground, but you almost had me murdered 3 weeks ago, so you can sit this one out. Happy to work with almost any other GOP that aren't trying to get me killed. In the meantime, if you want to help, you can resign. I mean, that's true. AOC, y'all. I mean, I don't understand how anybody... they scoff at her Green Deal. Like, so the right has done to AOC what the right did to Hillary Clinton and all the prominent leaders that have come up from the quote unquote left, right? Like, I don't really consider Hillary Clinton on the left, but they especially if they're women, they demonize them immediately. And they demonized AOC immediately because she immediately became one of the more popular politicians in the world. Like, and she's a firebrand, and she doesn't back down, and she doesn't play partisan. Like, she led her first 3 days in office, she led a protest against Nancy Pelosi's fucking office. Right? Yeah. I mean, she gives no fucks. She's going to be that progressive leader. I think she's going to be president of the United States one day. And yet they are demonizing her. And fuck Ted Cruz. I mean, Ted Cruz is as responsible as anybody for the insurgency, and she's not wrong here at all to call him out.
Yeah. She pulls no punches. She tells it like she believes it. She doesn't soften anything when it calls for direct language. And like, she is somebody, like you said, she has a chance maybe to become president someday, but I guarantee you, just from the way I've seen her operate in the short time she's been in office, she's not someone whose main goal in being in office is to remain in office. She is going to follow her beliefs and her heart, as far as what she thinks is right to do in her position, and she's not going to change what she thinks in those on those issues just because, well, I might have to soften my stance here, I won't be reelected, or I may get behind this certain faction in Congress because it can help me get reelected. No, she's not like that.
Yeah, and she considered not running for reelection in Congress. Not because of the hate she gets from right wingers, but the hate she gets from left wingers and the establishment there, and the brick wall that she has found, that I'm sure Bernie Sanders found however long ago when he first went to Washington D.C. Right, but the thing that she has that Bernie didn't have is the movement that Bernie has created, and I think people like AOC and Nina Turner and Tlaib and all these other new progressive voices that we have sprouting up. It's on us as a population to not leave it to them to promote the message. We've got to educate people and make them realize that we can have these progressive leaders. If you want change, if you want to change the system, this is the constitutional way to do so. You elect them in there to change the system. We need more AOCs, not less of them. And I hope that we go that way. I hope that that's the direction the left takes, because the DNC, I think the DNC is closer to breaking up than the RNC is right now. Because if the DNC don't come around, if the DNC keeps playing to these corporate oligarch fucking shills, they're going to lose their base. The DNC ignores their base while the Republicans placate their base. And that's the difference in the two parties.
Maybe we could end up with 4 parties when this all comes out in the wash. Who knows? Yeah, Mama Atheist, I find that so hard to believe that you support the Green New Deal. Imagine that.
I support the Green New Deal without a doubt. Yeah. I don't think it goes far enough. But if you want to, you can continue talking about this, John, or we can take a intermission. Briefly, I need to refill my coffee, and I'm smoking my cigarette, so when I'm done, I can turn my camera back on. But I got to refill my coffee. So if you want to, if you want to continue and not take a brief little intermission, we can do that, and I'll just go refill it.
Or you're not going to be gone for like 10 minutes or anything like that.
I'm going to be gone for like a minute.
Yeah, well, then I can
right.
cover them.
I'll be right back.
I could just sing a little song for everybody for a minute, but it's all up in the air, basically, of where we're going from here. I mean, yes, we had the wonderful happenstance of Trump getting voted out of office, and we got through the 20th with Joe taking the oath of office. It looks like Joe Biden is making a lot of the right moves, but as Knock and a lot of other people predicted, as soon as Joe was in office, the Republicans switched gears back to their fiscal conservatism that they put on the back burner while Trump was in office. And currently there's a lot of Republicans that are balking at the stimulus bill. It's going to still go through because, like Bernie has said, if need be, they will use the budget resolution to put it through, and that will only need a majority instead of 60 votes. So, it's just everything's up in the air here. I truly believe, too, that what I've been saying is that the Republican Party is going to end up being schismed, and that'll offer people on the left more chances to get into office. But as Knock just pointed out, there's some turmoil going within the Democratic Party itself. So if they end up schisming, then all bets are off. I mean, who knows where we're going to end up going? Trump isn't going anywhere for a while. The Republicans are still looking to him. And out of survival, the Republicans are still looking to him as a leader, because even if there are certain Republicans that maybe, might find a lot of his followers distasteful, and there are Republicans that aren't, total fucksticks, let's be honest, they're still bending the knee to Trump because they're afraid of pissing his base off. I mean, he's out of office now. He did those horrible things he did in the last 2 months in office, and still in polling, he still has, a 25, 30% approval rating when you ask, his base. I mean, so it's just, It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to a lot of people, that are like-minded that come to this channel and listen to me and Knock, that with everything that he did, not let alone over the 4 years of his term, but in the last couple months after the election, I can't fathom anybody still following him.
Well, and they do, because the Republicans are essentially cowards. They play to be tough men. They play to stand against the liberal left, but they're essentially cowards. So, like, what needs to happen, and what should have happened for the last 15 to 20 years, John, is for Republican leadership to do as John McCain did, not to immortalize a war hawk, but that moment when the lady stood up in that election when he was going against Barack Obama and called him a Muslim and all those terrible things, and John McCain was like, no, he's not any of those things. He's just the guy I'm running against. That's what we need Republican leadership to do and have been doing for the last 15 years to combat this misinformation, but they refuse to do so. What they've done is they've weaponized it. And, we need Mitch McConnell coming out and denouncing these lies about the election. He's done it a little bit, after the insurrection, but he's backed away and we don't hear him. We need to hear all of the Republican leadership come out and not only denounce Donald Trump and these lies about the election and all the things that Donald Trump lied about while he was president, but all the lies they perpetuated about Barack Obama, or at least didn't dismiss when they were being fed into their base. All the lies they told about Hillary Clinton. And if they didn't tell them directly, they allowed them to be fed into their base. This has been a problem for so long that they have weaponized this misinformation, and now they're seeing the absolute destruction that's caused by that. And to me, it's like they've made the decision that it's too late now.
Imagine like, okay, you talk about John McCain did a whole lot bad in his life, but hey, here's one instance where he did right. Here's another instance where he did right. What do you think would have happened if the people that followed Trump, the people that were running his campaign, when they were perpetuating the idea that Joe Biden was in cognitive decline? What do you think? And after the 4 years we saw of him, we know he wouldn't have done this. But what if Donald Trump had come out and said, "Well, look, here's the thing. Joe struggled lifelong with a stutter, and he beat that. And sometimes that makes him skip a word or two, or skip a beat. No, he's not declining cognitively. I mean, that's just nuts. That's just the guy I'm running against. If he had said something like that,
if it had been anybody besides Trump, like, I think Biden would have been easily beaten just over the Tara Reade issue. It never became an issue during the election because, it's Donald Trump and he has like 19 of those, right? Yeah. So like any other Republican with a clean family values fucking platform would have easily defeated Joe Biden because of the Tara Reade issue. But Joe Biden, whether he's innocent or not, it was pushed under the rug. And now that he's president, it doesn't fucking matter. You can't do shit, so... it's being, I don't know. It's just, we on the left, we at least tell the truth about ours, right? And those on the left, they accept the demagoguery that is presented to them. And it's a huge problem. And a lot of these people now have been raised. CJ Cox was raised into this misinformation, this life of misinformation. His whole life has been misinformation, because he was raised into those things that they were saying about Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. He was raised into it. He was born into it. And it's going to be so fucking impossible to reach that man because of that.
What was he? CJ was maybe 2 or 3 when 9/11 happened or something like that.
Yeah, like he was a fucking baby. And that's what we're facing. That's, Donald Trump, he's just he's the illness that came from all those symptoms that we ignored for so long because it was rude to talk politics. It was rude to call out that family member, that cousin that was talking about how evil Hillary Clinton was. That was rude. And people didn't do it. And we fucking should have.
Yeah, damn well Hillary was all part of that pizza basement pedophile ring in the pizza shop that didn't even have a basement. But,
they made it rude for us to call them on our bullshit. No, that's why I always say, like, my grandma always taught me not to lie. I get a spanking. And I don't believe in spanking children. But, we were raised not to lie. We were raised not to accept. Like my dad always told me he doesn't hate anything more than a liar. I seen that lie when he became a Trump supporter. I called him out on that shit a couple times. I'm like, Dad, I thought you said. Remember when you said? All right, so we're gonna transition into Cupcake now, John. There was a church bombing of an NIFB church, I guess. Now, I'm a little skeptical here, and I don't want to dismiss this, because if it was the protesters against this church that did this thing, then I want to denounce that, pure and simple. But before I get too involved, I'm going to let Matt talk to you about it for a minute, all right? I did have pictures when I was going to talk about this yesterday of the bombing, quote unquote. But yeah, we'll talk about it. I have covered the guy that runs this church, Maiha, I think his name is. He's one of the NIFB pastors that I do occasionally cover. I don't cover him as much as Stephen Anderson and the rest, but I have covered him in the past. He is as atrocious with the rest, especially when it comes to talking about the genocide of gay people. So let me get this on the screen for everybody, and I'll put it up here for you, and we'll let Cupcake tell you. Cupcake got a haircut. All right.
Hey guys, this is Matt Powell. I recently received word that a friend of mine had his church bombed. Unfortunately, some people didn't like what he was preaching, and they got very angry with him, and they cried out, "Love, love," and they held up the love, love signs to tell everybody how much they love everybody. And then a few days later, they end up bombing his church. Now, as Christians, you may fall in a different camp than a fundamentalist Baptist. You may be, you might be a Bible churcher. You might even be a Pentecostal. No matter what denomination you are, no matter who you are, you should be rallying around the man of God right now. When a brother in Christ is attacked by terrorists, there should be no question about standing up and giving him your support. It doesn't matter.
No, I think I of course I agree with what Matt is saying there. Of course, like I don't agree with bombing any NIFB church. Now, this bombing, it's not like the building didn't blow up. Like I don't know. So what? From what the story I saw from the local news was, police saw windows that appeared to be open, and they thought somebody had broken into the church. And there was protest around this guy's church. He is one of these NIFB pastors. It's located in liberal California. Not all places in California are liberal, but I think the place he's in is more of a liberal space. And so his church is there, and I'll take it off for you, John. His church is there, and they have been protesting because he's one of these NIFB pastors that have been calling for the genocide of gay people. So they've been protesting him without a doubt, and without a doubt, I think it's a possibility that maybe it came from the protesters. But so the police got up to the building, and they saw that it looked like the windows had been blown out, like there had been an explosion. And then they saw fire, they saw smoke. I think they were able to put it out rather quickly. Nobody was injured. And this happened really late at night, 3-4 o'clock in the morning, which is, for me, kind of suspect because, usually when these things happen, it would be when the crowd is there and the energies are pumping. So it's either, a planned terrorist attack like Matt is implying here, or I think it could possibly be a pastor taking advantage of a situation. I'm willing to wait for the investigation to come out before I make my assumptions. Matt Powell isn't. But I think that, it's a highly suspect situation, and we should allow for the investigation to come out before we make conclusions about it, instead of saying, left-wing terrorists are trying to, kill us now. Is pretty much what Matt Powell is saying.
Well, right, and it's a few things I find interesting. One, yeah, I'm with you. We got to wait for all the facts to come out. But I have to admit I'm a little biased in that I always take anything Matt says with a grain of salt. So the way he's telling the story, about, they had their love, and it sounds like an embellishment to me. You're saying that it doesn't. He's saying that the church was blown up, and it doesn't really appear to have been blown up. Maybe somebody threw a firebomb inside or something. But we'll wait until the things comes out. But my default is always, if it's Matt saying it, you got to call bullshit partially somewhere. The other thing that I find interesting is that we got to stand with our brothers in Christ, which I'm not faulting him for that. Christians are going to stick together in the trying times, of course. But I find it kind of interesting that he's calling out these terrorists, but yet he remained so silent in public. If folks remember from a year or two ago, when Knock was receiving death threats from his brothers in Christ from the NAFB, and they were, basically stalking him, and there was some threats made against him and his family. I don't ever remember, Matt coming out on his channel, coming out in public, and denouncing these Christian brothers of his that were doing that.
Yeah, and Matt Powell is back in Michigan now. And that kind of scares me a little bit, John, because, why did he go to Arizona? I think he went to Arizona to be groomed by Steven Anderson to lead the growing NIFB movement here in Michigan. They're up north from me, and Matt's neck of the woods. And I'm afraid that he's back here now to be that leader here in Michigan that Steven Anderson seems to have in all of his little branches. You have the Jimenez and the Mayhas, this guy that was bombed out in California.
So are you implying that Matt didn't move to Arizona? He just went to the NIFB's version of a terrorist camp?
I think he might have, yeah.
He was down in Arizona, doing the monkey bars.
I'm not sure. No, it would be more like, in the church practicing his preaching, his hellfire preaching. But, yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. And, I should be seeing Matt fairly soon, and I'll be able to ask him these things. So, yeah, I when it comes to, bombing an NIV church, I don't think that that's the way that you fucking go about it. For one, you turn sympathy towards these people, right? So other Christians are going to see that and they're going to be like, they're trying to persecute our brothers in Christ. They don't, as I cough up a lung, they might not know the level of depravity of that some of these things that these people say, right? And might not agree with all the things that they say, but they're just going to see, they're persecuting fellow Christians. The way we defeat Matt Powell, the way that we defeat Steven Anderson is to do it as we've done. We defeat them in the public space. We defeat them with the conversation. We defeat their ideas. We feed them if we are doing these things. And like I said, this to me, from what I've read about it, I think it's like, a 50-50 thing on whether this was some agitated protester or a preacher trying to get a bigger church. I wouldn't put it past any NIFB member to take advantage of a situation like that. Not at all.
And they would say, God guided me to do this.
Yeah. We're not going to listen to too much of this one, but I do want to listen to a little bit more of Matt. His new video today must have been pre-haircut because, I don't know, he's got a haircut in this one.
And so God equals the square root of -1 asks you, Rage, what's up with Michigan? There's a lot of crazies in that state.
Yeah, we've always kind of perpetuated it here. Michigan's always been like a purple state. So you have your pockets of sanity. I don't really live in one of those. But you do have your pockets of sanity. And within those pockets of sanity, you have issues like corruption. So, Detroit is famous for this. One of the guys that Trump just pardoned, Kilpatrick, one of the most corrupt Democratic mayors, I believe he was, in the history of the country, fully deserved everything that he got. And Trump just gave him a fucking pardon. So you do have a lot of issues, but we've always had militias here. And as I've said, don't blame me, but it seems like when I moved back to Michigan, I brought the Confederacy with me because you see Confederates everywhere. You see rebel flags everywhere. The Southern heritage has become a big thing here in northern Michigan.
It's your fault.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, it probably is.
I'm going to go real quick comment on the pardons. And like Knock always says, hey, like when he was talking about John McCain and other people he's talked about, just because they did the right thing in this situation doesn't change them from being a horrible person overall. And there were a few pardons that Trump put through that I was glad that he did. Like there was this one gentleman in California that had life in prison for drug charges, and he got a clemency from Trump. So there was a few others like that, so even the worst of the worst sometimes do the right thing, if for maybe the wrong reasons. But
he left out the important people. And I ultimately think like Trump made his mistake with this insurgency thing. QAnon Shaman is really, really pissed off that he didn't get no pardon from Donald Trump. And he's so pissed off, he wants to come to the impeachment trial. He wants to testify in the impeachment trial. No, because Trump should have gave him a goddamn pardon. Trump pardoned all these other fucks. So I think Trump made that mistake.
Did he pardon what was the lawyer's name that turned against him? That was his boy for years.
Cohen. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But all right, I'm going to throw this back up, John. We're going to listen to a little bit more Cupcake, and then I got a short little Cupcake video that we're going to watch that I find hilarious and somewhat true, honestly. Yeah.
What camp you're in, it doesn't matter what beliefs you have. If somebody that claims the name of Christ, a saved, born-again brother, is receiving persecution, you should be one of the first people to stand up and support somebody that goes through something like this. And I just want to say that before this bombing happened to Pastor Bruce Mejia's church, a group of homosexuals went ahead and decided to do like a show in front of his church, in front of the children on their way in, singing about sexually perverted things. Now,
all right. So no evidence of this, and if so, I kind of find it hilarious.
Doesn't it seem like Matt kind of is like Nephilim free when the way Matt says homosexual is kind of the way that Nephi says evolution.
So Matt is Matt. He's an atrocious human being. I haven't seen any news reports of homosexuals storming a church or singing. What would that even be? Like singing songs of sexual activities? Like what would that be? Like, walking in there, like, I'm fucking you in the butt. Would it be like a political chant? I fuck you in the butt, and then they say, "I fuck you in the butt." Like what the fuck is? I don't get it.
That guys, they could have simply been, singing a song about, equality, or singing a song about, something that alluded to the fact that, it's okay to be homosexual, and that to him would, been a filthy song, sexual song.
Yeah, so Matt is Matt. But this like I said,
is this the one where he's sitting out in the snow with a suit coat on?
No, he put this one out like this morning, I think. This is brand new. Okay. And it's only 2 minutes and 25 seconds long. And yeah, like if he's back in, I think he might still be in Arizona when he actually made this. Because as you can see, this is pre-haircut. Right, so I think he's been holding on to this, but we actually have snow in Michigan, and we've had it for a few days now. So, like winter finally caught up to Michigan at the end of fucking January. So this I find this hilarious. The video is called "Thank You So Much." So let's hear what Matt Powell's thankful for. Oh, all right, here we go.
Hey guys, this is Matt Powell. I wanted to do a video specifically addressed to the atheist community and those who have come out against me in the comment section on YouTube. I just want to say thank you to all of you who have given me your support and have went ahead and commented, albeit some of them are very nasty. Every time you comment on one of my videos, it boosts the visibility of the video, and so I just want to say thank you so much, and I feel blessed and encouraged to have your comments and your support.
And he's not wrong, John. He's not wrong, not at all. And it is the double-edged sword we walk on here on YouTube.
And I mean, you have said as much to crazies that end up in your comment section. It's kind of a standard reply when someone who abjectly hates you and has nothing but shit to say about you is like, well, hey, thanks for your support. You're boosting the video up. But so he's not wrong.
Well, I think, and I'm going to play psychologist here. I think we see why he does it, though, right? Like, he might actually believe all these horrible things, but he goes out of his way. He puts himself in the position to say these things because he knows that this is like a career path for him, right? Like, this is going to be highly, highly successful. And if you like, when I first started covering Matt Powell, his YouTube channel was roughly about 500 subs ahead of mine, right? When we first came together, he was about 500 subs ahead of me. Over the first year of our battle, we both kind of exploded. But I was still able to catch up to him at one point, and I even did a video talking shit when I caught up to him at one point. And then we stayed close until he went on Kent Hovind's channel, and he had another blow-up moment. And since then, he's outpaced my channel beyond. I mean, I'm about to finally hit 3,000 subs. This kid's over 7,000 subscribers now. So...
Well, and by the way,
that's really good growth considering the awful shit he says. Yeah.
Well, and I just noticed this the other day too. Knox channel is less than 100 subs away from 3,000.
Yeah,
so
we're almost there.
Everybody that's here all the time, please, share this channel out with some, friends of yours if you know that they're not subbed yet. Knock is so close to 3,000, and that's quite a benchmark, for a channel. 3,000. I think there's some things that happen when you hit 3,000 that may not happen for this channel since the fuckers demonetized them, but it's still a benchmark.
Yeah, we're gonna have a big show when we hit 3,000. Once we get there, it's gonna be a big show. We're gonna invite some peoples and have some fun. But yeah. So I mean, this is the double-edged sword. You combat these things, and it's very frustrating to see Matt grow. It's very frustrating to see more and more Christians support Matt. And that's the thing. Like when I do this series that I'm doing on Smokey Saint now, and I look at this old iteration, and we see how did Smokey get from that, somebody able to argue reasonably, to somebody that's going to call Matt Powell a brother? So many people so many Christians are willing to open their arms. And that's why I say, if this does indeed turn out that some leftists that are in opposition of the things that they say did bomb this church, well then, I mean, you are feeding and probably radicalizing more Christians into actually believing the things that NIFB are saying. So it's a hard one, John. Like, how do we defeat this fucking shit? Because it seems to be growing.
I mean, well, and it's really extra difficult. Going back to yesterday, where we showed that clip where Smokey was in a stream after Tog had put the hit on his channel, and he just did, his little Smokey stream of consciousness fucking insult rant on Tog about, what a horrible, abject piece of shit Tog was. And then now, if you talk to Tog, I don't know what Smokey would say, but they got together and talked, and Tog was in the chat saying, yeah, we're all cool again and everything. So if you can't even count on, you would think in that situation that Tog, a Christian, would have came out the other side of that saying, yeah, forget Smokey, he doesn't coincide with what I believe and yada, yada, yada. But then now they're back together, so how can you combat that? You have people, more and more people hearing the horrible message from Matt Powell. Luckily, Smokey hasn't taken off, but it seems like that, he alluded to it about his Christian brothers. I mean, they just, I don't know, they just won't pull apart. You know what I mean? It's like even if in the back of their mind maybe they're not totally agreeing, then it seems like they fall back on that Christian brotherhood. We have to stand with each other.
Yeah, I mean, and you see it in the modern day debate side chat. Like, to me, the modern day debate side chat is like a fucking social experiment. Because if you look closely within that chat, you'll see atheists arguing with Christians, atheists arguing with atheists. You will hardly ever see Christians arguing with Christians. Ever. Ever. Like, it does not fucking happen. And they will always take the Christian side. Now, when it comes to the atheists, not necessarily true. Like, the Christian got him there. You see that shit all the fucking time. Never from the Christians. Ever. It is this hive mentality. Like, when they're threatened, they come together and they all go prickly together. and you can't defeat that. It's like, how do you defeat that? The only thing you do is you continue to get those fence sitters. And the best way to do that is A, call their bullshit out, or B, be some super nice thing that's not actually possibly human. I hate it when atheists do that. Be fucking real. Nobody's that fucking nice all the goddamn time.
And it's important to point out too is the discussion we're having now. We're talking about amongst the Christian community that's in this social media sphere, in this YouTube sphere, in the Twitter sphere. We're not talking about the entirety of Christendom, because there are whole.
Oh yeah, they bicker all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's whole swaths of Christianity that don't know nothing about social media, that, don't Twitter, don't YouTube and all that stuff. But yeah, amongst like all the people that we deal with on a regular basis, they do have this this group mentality, like Knox said, that they can't objectively say, you know what, my Christian brother, what you're saying is not right. They have to be like, yeah, I can't call him out for that because he's my Christian brother. Like,
yeah, I mean, they will bicker with each other all the fucking time. Smokey will call Tog a heretic, just like you pointed out. You're a goddamn heretic. You're going to hell. And you're going to burn forever. And 2 days later, Tog's like, yep, Christian brother. It's so yeah, it's like when their back is against the wall, like when they know that their religion is under attack. That's when that hive mind comes the fuck out.
I mean, amongst Christians, can there be any more insulting thing to call someone who is supposedly in your same religion to say that they're heretical? I mean, to me, that would be like the biggest insult for a Christian. And the idea that they can go back and forth calling one another that and then be cool with each other the next week, that just doesn't compute in my head.
Yeah. So, and that's what we have to contend with. We're going to watch some more of this. I do find it funny. But that is what we're contending with is, like, because people tell me all the time, oh, stop covering Matt Powell. Well, no, I mean, I've had people tell me that I'm responsible for how big Matt Powell is now. And I'm like, no, like, he's clearly outgrown me. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, what grows the Matt Powells of the world is the Bible. Unfortunately, the Bible says what Matt says it says. That's the fucking problem. Matt, again, is just a product of the disease, much like Donald Trump is. Matt just says what the Bible says. That's the fucking problem. It ain't me talking about him. The problem is the fucking Bible.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to throw this back on for you.
Every time you leave a dislike, it just shows that the opposition is there and that I might be the minority, but with God, I'm a majority. And I just want to say that I understand that they have a difficult time defending the position that they came from a rock long ago in a galaxy far, far away. And so, of course, I understand that, logic and reason can be very difficult for them and that they can really struggle to understand the world around them since their ideologies come right out of movies like Star Trek or.
Oh, my fucking God. He just can't help himself. In his moment of glory, when he's there just talking his mad shit, like, thank you, atheists, for being the reprobates that you are, and you can't resist my rosy-colored cheeks. He has to go to the Star Wars shit and the rock evolution. He just cannot help himself, John.
I mean, it's such an ironic thing to hear him talking about people that struggle understanding reality. Like, really, Matt, project much, and he talks about the majority minority thing, but with God, you're a majority.
Yeah,
I don't think he understands what majority minority is.
yeah. Well, I think his position there is that they've got what the Bible says, so that they continue to get more and more people, and it's what these cults always play off of, right? Like, I still get all these wonderful comments from my 3 tribes cults videos, or the 12 tribes, I think, whatever the fuck they were called.
Yeah.
I get some people that are still cult members. You're so wrong. We don't beat our kids. We just show them the glory of God. And then I get ex-cult members. You're so right. Like, it's just so beautiful because, these cults play on that. They show you what the fucking Bible says. They cherry pick their verses, of course. Matt admits to that. And then they get people that believe in God to believe that God wants them to believe these things. It's very easy for them. The hard thing is for us to reach them and say, no, God don't exist. Or even if God does, he ain't this monster.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's what we're up against. And Matt Powell is the perfect thing. And this next conversation is going to be about Noah's flood. I can guarantee that 90% of his debate is going to want to center around the Grand Canyon, and it's these illusions of science he's fed himself for his entire life that he relies upon, and I'll sit there and I'll debunk all of that, and it won't matter. It won't matter to the NIV audience. It won't matter to Matt. Because I'm an atheist and I'm clearly wrong.
He's gonna argue. There ain't no chuck holes. There ain't no chuck holes in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah. Animal holes. What about the animal holes?
We're called animal holes.
All right, so we're gonna watch a little bit more of this. I know it's probably making you, the audience, a little sick, but hey, this is Reprobate Sunday. We gotta make fun of these fuckers. We gotta make fun of these fuckers.
Star Wars. Despite the fact that they think that I'm misrepresenting science, all I'm doing is quoting the textbooks. So when they say that they're disagreeing with me, they're not actually disagreeing with me. They're disagreeing with their own scientists.
No, and you're not quoting textbooks. You're quoting the 100th page on your Google search. That's what you're fucking quoting. I've proven that, John, like several times. I've literally proven that.
Right. And the thing is, too, is that he's giving himself too much credit. I mean, I'm not remembering any, specific examples off the top of my head, but what Matt does and what like the Otangelos of the world do is they claim that I'm just speaking from the science, and either they're doing like what Knock just said, they're like going to the way down the fucking search history and find the nut jobs, or they are taking the actual scientific papers and using their conclusions, not the conclusions of the paper or the conclusions of the scientific community. They're reading the paper and cherry picking certain phrases out of it and not understanding what they say, or understanding what they say and presenting them in a dishonest fashion. So when he says, just know this, whenever Matt Powell says, I am quoting your science to prove you wrong, what he is actually saying is, I am quoting your science and my interpretation of it to prove you wrong. He's never once shown the actual science of something where it disproved, what the scientific consensus was.
Yeah, and we're going to get to that right now. So some of these, yeah. All right. Yesterday I streamed, and I, as always, like right now, especially when I'm showing shit on screen, I don't actually see the side chat. When this is my daughter home? Right. What the hell am I hearing? I have ghosts.
Sounds like somebody came in.
No, I thought I heard my daughter a little bit ago, and then I just thought I heard a fucking voice, and now I'm like, am I hearing voices? I don't fucking know. It's probably upstairs.
Is Jesus trying to communicate with you?
I don't know, man. Fuck. Hopefully I'm not losing it. It's probably coming from upstairs, and I'm just hearing something over my headphones here. But all right, so we'll turn that back on. These look a little out of order. I'm assuming I need to start with this one, John. So I'm going to pull this up.
Oh, what are you doing?
We're going to do your screenshots of Otangelo Grasso. So lead us into that.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, Knock already kind of ruined it. I mean, I was going to.
I didn't know you was going to do an impersonation. I was like, what, special guest? What the fuck are you talking about?
Tangelo was going to come into the room. But actually, I need to turn this off real quick because, if you can share those screenshots, because I don't know if you know, like on your phone, you go to the gallery when you're on Twitter trying to send DMs, and you can't really see what the fuck is, you know. And the thing is you can just share it with the audience.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they can see it. I'm not sure how clear it's coming.
I mean, you can put them up and. You could put them full screen on your end or whatever. I'm just saying I don't need them in front of me, and then that will take care of the audio issue. But Otangelo has been in the side chat of Speed's channel just about every time I'm over there, and he comes into Nakasuchi's channel and never really says anything awful new. Here a couple weeks ago, he had challenged me to a debate. And I told him, I said, well, look, man, I've admitted it before. You know more of the lingo, all the jargon and the words of, the evolution and other topics you always talk about. But, you go ahead and pick a topic and give me 2 weeks to study it. And there's no doubt in my mind that I'll trash you in a debate. And so he said, no, John, you can pick the topic. So I picked the topic of the age of the universe because he's a YEC, he's a young Earth creationist. Well, then all of a sudden, no, I changed my mind. You can't pick the topic. You have to, you have to do this topic or that topic. And so we were going at it during the Knox stream yesterday in the live chat, and he, was trying to say that that I'm the one that backed out. Well, one thing he's triggered about when he comes over to Speed's channel, Speed started playing Yakety Sax whenever Otangelo shows up, the Benny Hill theme song, and that just triggered the shit out of him. And then I started doing an Otangelo. Every time we talk about an Otangelo comment in the live stream, I always do an Otangelo voice for it. And I'm going to see if I can do that now and read a few of these. I mean, and if you screen share, that's fine. If not, it doesn't really matter. But I wish I'd known that we were going to this a little before we were, so that I could have been ready. But as a matter of fact, Knock, I gotta find this shit because you just kind of sprung it on me. Is there anything else we were going to talk about that you could talk about for a few minutes?
No, I was trying to lead you into there. You must not have picked up on it.
I didn't. I do apologize.
I'm really interested in who the fuck is walking around in my back rooms. My daughter isn't here.
Is it possible your landlord's there to fixing something?
No, there's nobody here. I must be hearing shit from upstairs. But find your stuff. It's going to be kind of hard for me to show the audience some, I think, because they're a little out of order on my end from what you sent me.
Yeah, and I meant to have an order ready for that, and I'm an idiot. Fuck it, we'll do it live. So I kind of fucked Knock up here, and I didn't pick up on the signals he was sending me there to get prepared. So I would say that maybe what we'll do is I will get my shit together and maybe we will talk about this, in the next stream or tonight on the open room. But I will, this is one that he texted to, or that he posted to Rage in the live chat yesterday, and that maybe Rage can respond to. And I'm going to try and do it as Otangelo. Anybody that's ever seen Otangelo live, the people over on Speed's channel think my impersonation is great. Let me know what you think here on our channel. And I always have to say speed to get the voice going. Otangelo posted, "At the Rage, did you not bury Smokey Saint a few months ago? Once atheists have nothing to say about their worldview, all they have is to talk about theists. That's how empty your worldview is." Because, of course, we were talking about Smokey a little bit yesterday. Otangelo calling him out that supposedly Knock had buried him a few months ago, but Knock came out shortly after that and said, "Yeah, you know what? I fucked up. I said I was going to bury Smokey Saint, but yeah, I can't leave that lost cow alone." So.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's so, yeah, I did a burial stream, and, you know, Smokey went on to talk his shit, and, but, like, so the overall general statement, like, you know, all you do is talk about Christians. Well, yeah, I mean, maybe, like, it's what I love about these Christians, is they don't pay attention. They just come in and talk shit. They don't know anything about what I stand for, anything that I have made this channel to be. I've always said, this channel is not... me trying to reach people, Christians, and turn them away from Christianity. This channel is for atheists, and to give atheists a chance to talk shit and to ridicule and laugh at religion, to be atheist in a space that they're free to be atheist in. And that's what I do here, and I enjoy it. It kills my time.
I mean, I understand their confusion, though, Knock. I have to steel man them a little bit, because when you first started this channel, you know damn well that you were talking about race car drag racing, you know, and shit like that. You know, race cars and drag racing. You know, you didn't start your channel to talk about religion. I mean, so I could see why they'd be confused that now all of a sudden you're talking about Christians, you know.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because, you know, it's a lot of projection. So what does Otangelo do? Otangelo goes to every atheist channel he can do. He spends all of his time watching atheists. How empty his worldview must be that he has to watch all of us sinners in action. How empty, you know, like how much time is he given to Christ? If he's here all the time, or if he's in all of these different live streams, or calling all of these different atheists, you know, how has he even got time to pray ever? Honestly, you know, if you want to...
It's almost like if God had Satan over for lunch once a week. Or something. I mean, and he, just to put a pin in this, so he balked at my topic of the age of the universe, and I came up with that because he's a young Earth creationist, and he said, "Well, no, that doesn't have anything to do with whether God exists." And I'm like, dude, the young Earth creationism comes directly from the Bible. You guys use the Bible to say that the Earth is young. You know, of course, it has to do with God and your worldview on God. And then he said, "But I want to debate on whether cells are molecular machines." He thinks they're literally machines. And I said, wait a minute, isn't that the same thing, Otangelo? What does evolution have to do with whether your God exists? I said, you could prove evolution wrong tomorrow, and that's not going to prove that your God exists. And he just didn't see it. He didn't see that it was apples, and it was, you know, the same thing.
They never do. And that's the funny thing is, you know, I love it when Christians come and tell me, "Oh, please stop destroying my fellow Christian. Please stop making my fellow Christian look so bad. Please stop making him look like the hypocrite that he is, because you show our religion to be the hypocrisy that it is. Please stop doing that." And I have and will always respond to these Christians with a big hearty, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah.
So yeah.
So So I just want to say my apologies to everybody. I was not prepared. We'll put something together.
We'll start the open room tonight with that, John. I'm thinking we'll start at like 7. We'll run it for like 2 hours. By then, my daughter will be home and everything will be back to normal.
And you're sure she's not home yet?
No, she would have answered me. She'd have been out here by now. If she came home, she'd have gave me a kiss. I got to be hearing shit from upstairs. That's what's got to be happening.
Yeah, I remember the one day they were doing some kind of construction up there, and it was like just fucking with your OCD, and we really couldn't hear it too much on this end. So.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to fuck with my OCD.
Yeah, you must have really good hearing too, you know.
Yeah, I think so. Well, not. I used to have really good hearing. I pick up on voices really well, but I supposedly got hearing loss because of my work in the factory a few years back. Loud noises. Loud noises drive me crazy too. It drive me insane.
I can appreciate that.
But all right, we are going to get out of here for the morning. Thank you guys for joining us. And as always, like especially with the whole virus thing, send me science. I'm actually looking into this more in depth, and I'm going to try to develop. I'm going to try to see, develop a firm stance on it. But I'm not going to really be talking about it too much because I don't want to perpetuate the misinformation about the science of the coronavirus. So I just wanted to clarify and admit that at a time that I had been wrong. So go ahead, John.
Hey, no, I just wanted to. Sorry, I always do this to you when you go to wrap up. Remember, Sammy Jenkins says in the chat, he says, "Add John Peterson, please tell at the Rage to make sure he is not being robbed."
Yeah.
And then Lori Hayes, which is actually Dave, because he uses his wife's account, says, "John, keep up the voice. You have Otangelo triggered."
Yeah, you have a good voice for it. You do it well.
He talked about. Speaking of Otangelo, he talked about it last night. He's upset you make fun of the voice.
So we'll have the voice to start the show tonight. But it will be like a 2.5 hour show. I'm not gonna have a very long open room tonight. So I think that's it for the morning. I don't think I have anything else. We're gonna be working on our new channel, trying to get that out. We've got a month before we want to try to have it out. I'm gonna be starting to build some edited videos. I'm not going to release too many. I will probably release one every once in a while, but I'm going to get the edited videos on a schedule. I'm probably going to release those on like a Friday or something at a specific time, but it's going to become very scheduled as I bring this channel back down and start working on the other channel. This channel, like I will still be streaming, and I will still be having an edited video a week or two, or an edited video or two a week, but I will be rolling this thing back down to what it was and what it always had been, and we're going to focus on this new channel and really try to build a conversation platform. So outside of that, I think we're done. Tomorrow is February 1st, so I will be, like, my goal, John, with the Patreon is to get, how people do the, like, scrolling shit. I got to figure that out. And then once I get a new patron or I lose a patron, I just adjust the scroll instead of make new slides.
Card. You can just basically add it to the end of the list, add it in the section it goes to. Yeah. And
I'm also starting tomorrow. I'm planning on different things with Patreon to make it more worth your time to be a patron. So I'm gonna do I'm gonna try to every morning do a written post, whether I'm just talking shit about something or talking about my day or what's going on in my life. I'm gonna have some kind of behind the scenes things with me and my daughter, and getting into my weight loss and my exercise routines, just kind of like behind the stuff of the Rage real life stuff. I haven't decided on the tiers and stuff, but I wanted to be actual things for the different levels of patron that will be well worth the money people have been spending for Patreon. So that will be coming, and that's going to be a major focus starting in February and moving forward. I just got to make it my routine. I got fucking shit everywhere to remind me. So.
I thought of something really naughty to say.
That doesn't surprise me, John.
Maybe you could set $1,000 Patreon level for any of the ladies that like you, and then you'll do one of those penis castings for them.
There probably isn't many of those, I don't think. Not anymore.
Okay. I just
A penis casting.
Yeah, I mean, I just learned about it. I can't remember where I saw it, somewhere online where some famous person had that one of their fans had sent them a kit to where they could make a mold of their junk so that they could send it, so that that person could send it back to them, and then they could make a dildo of the actual shape of the penis of this person they like.
I think that's brilliant. Honestly, I would definitely immortalize my penis.
And on that note, folks.
All right, y'all. So yeah, thank you for joining us. A fun little morning stream for the reprobates out there. That includes you, Otangelo, since you join us so often. Yeah, thank you guys. Old Patreon screen for now, but new stuff a coming. Y'all have a good one.
Perfect.